Hi everybody, it's Louise from Wildflower Wool and welcome back to the newest episode of New Start Mondays. And I know if anybody who is going to be watching this as soon as it uploads, you're going to tell me, Louise, it's not Monday. And you're right, it's not. Monday was a holiday here. It was Canada Day. So I was up at the cottage on vacation and I didn't do a video on Monday. But I didn't want the whole week to go by and wait till next Monday to do another video. So here we are. I'm going to give you an update on the 4 projects that I was going to start last week and show you what has been started for this week. So I'm going to try to do them in order, the way I showed you the yarn, if I can remember. So I'm pretty sure last week's video, I showed you this quick yarn from Mary Maxim. It's like a really super bulky yarn. I used a 10mm needle. I started and finished the seed stitch cowl. I think I started as soon as I finished the video with you guys last week, and I finished it up the next day. I took it to knit night with me that Monday night, and I really like how this seed stitch turned out. I like the definition. It almost makes it look like baubles or whatever there. So I did this flat, and then I seamed it up the back. And I like it. I forget exactly what the measurements were, but I like exactly how tall this is. It's good. So I will definitely be remaking this. Love the seed stitch. Love how the stitch definition just popped. It was amazing. I was really surprised because I normally don't like knitting. Look how super thick this yarn is. I don't like knitting with super bulky yarn like this, but this was really quite fun. And one of our viewers typed in and left a comment on YouTube saying that sadly this is discontinued, which always seems to happen, right? You find something you love and it's gone. Anyways, I still had this much left, so it didn't even take, this is 200 gram, 80 meters. It didn't take the whole thing. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this little bit now, but anyways, one project started and finished. The next yarn I showed you was also this really super bulky stuff, this blue and white. It was, what was it, polar bulky. Anyways, I knit almost all the blue wool. I knit a whole bunch of these little headbands. Remember I told you I'm doing a kids learn to knit class this summer, and so I was just kind of playing around with these blue ones, just more practicing to get the width. These are 3.5 inches wide, just knit and garter stitch, about 3 inches less than the circumference of your head. Should I put this on? Sure. Anyway, so there we are, a headband. It fits over your ear perfectly, keeps your forehead. So simple little project. Now I knit 2 others. Oh, now my hair. So never try on, if you're worried about your hair or you have long hair that's going to be really messy, note to self, don't try on hats and headbands. But anyways, seeing the knitting model is more important than my hairdo, right? This variegated, I just pulled again off my stash. Then this is actually just a chunky, and I liked the colors, the pink, the gray, the black. I knit up a headband in this, and I also did one in this, a pink, yellow, and orange variegated. I knit one of those. These 2, I don't have the finished ones to show you. I took them to the yarn shop for a sample for people to see, but I did knit up a white flower, and I attached it on here and then put a wooden bead in the center. It looks pretty cute. So I do have a picture, so I'll try to insert it right here for you so you can have a glance at how those turned out. So that was done. So I was really happy with how that turned out. I will show you next week. I'll make a note to show you what the flower looks like and how it's done, because it's super quick and it's good for teaching because it's casting on, knitting, and casting off. 2 rows, done. You have a flower. So I will show you that next week. Okay, what was my next project was? Oh, I think it was the Angora, wasn't it? So I've cast on with these needles. Oh, we have a cat. So I tried it on. This was kind of my gauge swatch. I tried it on, pulled it on, and it fits nice and snug here. I just kind of did an educated guess of what my gauge would be multiplied it by 8 inches around, and cast on 48 stitches, and I think it's going to work fine. I'm going to figure out what size needle these are because I don't even know. Oh my goodness, 2.25 I think it is. Yeah, oh, or maybe 2.2. Oh my god, I think they are 2.25. This yarn does feel... Obviously Daisy wants to join us tonight. Okay, I'm going to try to keep her right out of the video here. But it is pretty thin when it's knitting it. I had larger wooden needles initially, and they were way too big. As soon as I started casting on the first 2 stitches, I knew it was way too big. So I just grabbed some DPN. So this looks like a 2.25. I'm going to do my cuff on this, and then I'm going to do color work. And a couple of people left me some comments. I asked for some suggestions on how to do this mitten pattern. There were some comments of just doing like a small overall little tiny color work pattern, or do a Norwegian star. So what I've kind of come up, I thought I liked the Norwegian star idea, and I did some sketching just around this because you know I love flowers. Anything flowers is like a given for me. So I did a little sketching of this flower pattern, and I think I'm going to do this in the white gray knit with a white flower pattern. That's my plan. So my tip is for color work, don't be afraid to go up a needle size. I've got 2.25 needles here. I'm going to go up maybe even to a 2.75. And this I'll have to check my gauge. I'll have to actually try it on, because when you're doing color work, especially when you're pulling the colors between the double points, it's going to get tight. So lots of times you have to go up a needle size. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll finish my ribbing, find some other size needles, and carry on with this little flower pattern, and I will show you next Monday what the results are. Lastly, my 4th project for this week is just a gauge swatch. I've got 2 sets of needles here hanging on here. This was the Patton's Grace 100% cotton that's going to be turned into a little summer tank top. Now, I knit this. This was with a, oh shoot, I forget. What was it? 3.5, I think 3.5, 3.75. Okay, this was the bottom half, 3.75. And as I was knitting it, I thought, I think that's just a little bit too loose. So I knew this needle was smaller, and it is a 3.5. So just a little smaller. But I can't really see that much difference in my swatches. The little one, top one looks a little tighter. I mean, it should. It's a little bit smaller needle. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm wondering if it's still, my gut feeling is telling me it's still a little too loose. So I might try and find a size 3mm, and I think I will swatch again on this. But I'm liking how this is knitting up, so I'm really excited about this. So swatching, it's cast on. I played around with it, so I'm going to count that as officially started. Oh, now for this week's new cast-ons. I didn't actually go back and see how many I had to cast on to get totally caught up, but I thought four is a lot. With everything else that I was knitting, casting on 4 new projects was a lot. So I thought for this week, I'm just going to go with 2. And I've been knitting on a sock this week. It wasn't even part of my new start. I should have kept it. I should have added it or made it one of my new starts, but I didn't. I've been knitting a sock for my mom, and I thought, I'm kind of feeling like I've got my sock mojo back here. So this week's new starts are both going to be socks. There we go. There again, I just grabbed some needles, and I'm not even sure. These hopefully are 2.25s. And they are. At least that one is. There's no guarantee the other 2 are the same size, but let's hope they are. Let's see. Yes, 2.25, 2.25. Now, 2.25. I only have 4 though. I couldn't find a 5th one in my container. I have this cute little pottery jar. My sister-in-law is a potter, so I have one of her very first little vases that she made is a little wonky and she was going to throw it out. And I said, no, I need to keep that. It's so cute. Anyway, so I have some DPNs in it. So I managed to find 4 that do appear to be all the same size. Normally I like to knit my socks on 5 needles, but you can improvise and knit. I mean, improvise, not really improvising, right? I learned how to knit socks on 4 needles, 3 in your work and your 1 needle as you're knitting needles. So I've gone back. I've just put them on to 3 needles. So you're knitting as a triangle as opposed to like our mitten here where it's a square. I like this way better, but that's just personal preference. But this works. When you can't find your extra 5th needle, you can work with 4. So I've cast on 64 stitches. I've done 2 rounds of knit 2, purl 2 ribbing. This is going to be another little shorty summer sock because I found 1 lone 50-gram ball sitting in my stash. And it's again Patton's Croy Stretch, which again sadly is discontinued. If you remember, if you watch the Fiber Friends podcast, I showed back in May, it was around Mother's Day, I knit my mum pair that was kind of a blue and purple and black. Same stretch yarn. I did her a little pair of short socks. I'm going to switch up these ones just a little bit. I'm going to do a few rounds less ribbing and like a lot because mum socks initially were going to be full socks, and then I realized I was cutting it close to Mother's Day and thought, no, these are going to become shorty socks. So they still had like 1.5 inches of ribbing on them. These are, I might just do a couple more rounds and then I'm going to go right into the heel. Mum sock, I did a heel flop. This one I'm going to do a short row heel. I'm going to try to tempt my daughter with this pair of socks. If you've watched our other podcasts, you'll know I keep insisting on knitting my daughter socks, even though she doesn't like them and has probably told me repeatedly she doesn't like them, but I'm not giving up. So I'm hoping that a short row heel is going to look more like a, real sock. And maybe she'll like them. So we'll see. She and I wear the same size, so if she doesn't like them, they'll just be for me anyway. So it'll be a win-win. If she likes them, I'll be super happy. If she doesn't, I get a pair of socks. So I'm not going to go wrong here. Now, my second, this is new start number 2 for this week, and it's going to be a colorwork pair of socks. This yarn, I have not knit with the sock yarn. Garn sock, Sans Garn. It's from Norway. And this came from, this came from the Little Red Mitten, one of our local yarn shops. But I bought in this yarn, but in a DK version from Knit Stitch before. That's the first time I bought it. Anyways, I like these 2 colors together. The main color is going to be the gray, and this is going to be my pattern color. And I'll show you what the sock is going to be. It's called Firebird. So this is my, I'm going to actually go downstairs as soon as we're finished here and I'm going to cast this on. But because it is colorwork, I do need to find probably 2.275 millimeter DPNs to cast this on. It starts with 100 stitches and then you decrease down. So this is going to be fun. It's going to be a big project, but that's okay. I'm up for it. I can do it. So, all right, guys, we're all caught up. That's what I've done. So I got 2 out of the 4 projects done and finished. I've got 2 socks ready to go for this week, and I will be back next week with another new start. So thank you so much for hanging out with me here, catching up on my new start projects. So if you want to join in along with me, if you are inspired, do you want to cast on some socks? Do you want to do another little short pair of socks? Get them all ready, and next Monday I'll post another video. And if you want to knit along with me, post on Instagram using the hashtag newstartmondayknits. That way I'll be able to find your projects. So if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell notifications. So when I do get these videos posted, which are going to hopefully be every Monday from here on out, you will know when it's all ready for you to go check out what I'm working on. And I would love to see your projects and have you knit along with me. All right, until next week, guys, happy knitting.